Okay, now today we are going to see a very interesting part in our chapter 2. Here in the chapter 2, it's that we should be able to design different kinds of joint. In that, the first joint that we are going to study here is the quarter joint. You'll find quarter joint in various applications. It is a temporary fastening which is used to connect rigidly two coaxial rods or bar which are subjected to axial, tensile or compressive forces. So that means here it is not a permanent joint. It is a temporary joint which is used to connect two rods which are having axis in the same line. That means it is a coaxial rod. Now in such type of application which are subjected to tensile or compressive forces, quarter joint can be used. So if you just take an example, the connection between piston rod to crosshead or the piston rod and its extension, or you may find the strap end of connecting rod, or in simple bicycle paddle joint. So all these applications or example you'll find in the figure also. So in such type of joint where we need to disassemble these joint if it is required for the maintenance purpose. So that's why it is a temporary fastening. As far as different types of quarter joint is concerned, the socket and spigot quarter joint is very common. Sleeve and quarter joint and gib and quarter joint. These are the three basic types that denotes the different types of quarter joint. Now, how this quarter joint look and what are the types, basic various parts of this quarter joint that we'll see. Now again, look at the slide. You'll find that socket and spigot quarter joint is having three basic parts: socket, quarter and spigot. You can find these three parts on our presentation at the bottom side, and cut section of that particular quarter joint is shown above. So the socket is a hollow cylindrical type of part having a hollow slot for the quarter. Spigot is the solid cylindrical type of part having again a slot for the quarter. So these two are assembled together and quarter is inserted as a locking between socket and spigot. Whatever forces are applied, so as we know, quarter is subjected to tensile or compressive type of loading. So whatever forces are applied, that are applied on the shaft or rod as shown in the figure. Now look at that particular video also, so that the application of that particular quarter joint in 3D views will be clear. Okay, now I think a simple type of socket and spigot quarter joint is understood by you. So it has very simple three parts: socket, cutter, and spigot. Now look at the picture cut section view. In that cut section view, you'll find that there are different dimensions are given. Now the pink type of part is the socket, blue hatch line part is the spigot, and the cutter which is inserted in between that. So it is a cut section part. In that cut section part, variety of dimensions are given. So if you just think about the dimension of socket, you'll find that if you start from the left side, there is a D which is diameter of the rod to which the force F or force P is connected. The force is tensile in nature in the figure. D1 is the diameter, outer diameter of the socket. D2 is inner diameter of the socket. D4 is the extended socket collar diameter. Again, C is the dimension, linear dimension of the socket besides the cutter. Now if you just think about the dimension of spigot, you'll find that the dimension D2 is the external diameter of the spigot. D3 is the collar diameter of that particular spigot. Again, D is the shaft diameter at the right side. So here the shaft diameter or the rod diameter left side as well as right side is same. A and B are the again two linear dimensions. A is the dimension besides the cutter and B is the width of the cutter. So these are the major dimensions that we have to find when we say design of socket and spigot cutter joint. Now when I start this particular spigot and cutter joint, which is subjected to axial loading. Axial loading means here there is a tensile type of load is given on this particular socket and spigot cutter joint. Let us see how it is that particular tensile force is acting in the video, and after that we'll go step by step design of this socket and spigot cutter joint. Okay. Now these are the different type of dimensions already we have discussed: D, D1, D2, D3, T1, D4, C, B, etc. On this, when I say there is a force P acting, this particular socket and spigot cutter joint is made from the steel as a material. Now steel should have some basic stress permissible quantities. So this particular socket and spigot cutter joint is subjected to permissible tensile stress as sigma T, permissible shear stress as tau, and permissible crushing stress as sigma C. That means after this, sigma T indicate tensile stress, tau indicates shear stress, and sigma C indicates crushing stress for that particular socket and spigot cutter joint material. So this particular diagram gives the whatever dimension for that particular cutter joint. Okay, let us go further and try to design this. Now we'll start our basic drawing from design of that rod or shaft on which your tensile load is acting. If you just look at that video, you'll find that rod is having circular in cross section, and when the tensile stress is applied on that particular rod, that it get failed. The failure also you can see very well in our video. Okay, now the cross section area, of that resisting tearing or tensile action is pi by 4 d square, where d is the diameter of the rod. Now, as we know, stress is equal to force divided by area, then force is equal to pi by 4 d square into sigma t, where sigma t is the tensile stress of that material. From this equation, as if I know how much quantity of force is applied on that joint, and if I know the permissible tensile stress sigma t, then you can find the diameter d very easily by using our equation sigma t is equal to P divided by pi by 4 d square, or P is equal to area into stress, where P is the force applied. So again, let us see one more time the failure, and after that we'll go for the next dimension. So here we find the diameter of the rod very clearly, which is failed under tension. Now let us go further. So now think about the spigot only. Now, when we say spigot is subjected to tension, now again look at that video. You'll find there is a spigot which fell under tension. Again, I will show that particular video. The spigot is the solid type of rod which is having a slot for the quarter when it is subjected to tension. Now, in first step, we find the diameter d, which is the diameter of that outer shaft. When we go for a safest diameter d, then next is the design of spigot. Now in the spigot also, there may be chances that spigot may fail. We need to consider how much amount of dimension should be there, safe dimension for the spigot, if it is subjected to tensile type of loading. Now the failure of spigot in tension, you can visualize here. When we say tensile failure, always that cross section area is perpendicular to the force. So let us again visualize that video, and after that we'll go for the area and all these things. So spigot, socket and cotter, these are the three different parts in our cotter joint. Out of that, here the failure of spigot in tension, that we are going to see. Okay, I think it is clear to you now. Now spigot has got D2 as outer diameter and T, which is the thickness of that particular quarter. Quarter thickness we have to subtract, because effective resisting area of the spigot across the slot is weakest one. That weakest section is having pi by 4 d2 square as the complete area. Out of that, the blank quarter slot D2 into T has to subtract. So just look at the area, resisting area of that spigot across the slot. You will find that the complete area is pi by 4 D2 square minus D2 into T. Here this is the area. So area multiplied by stress equal to force again. The type of stress is tensile stress. So this resisting area multiplied by sigma T gives us load, or you can say that stress is equal to force divided by area. So if you just put that area at denominator, you'll find that stress is equal to P by area, which is one and the same. So here we can get the value of, safe value of D2 if I know the value of T. How to find that value of T, that we'll see when we go for numericals. Now it is very clear that when the spigot is subjected to tensile force, that tensile force acts on that particular spigot and it get failed. The failure area is the weakest section and the resisting area is pi by 4 D2 square minus D2 into T. So if I multiply that with the sigma T, why sigma T? Because it is subjected to tension. So that's why sigma T. So force is equal to stress into area. So that gives the equation. So this completes the equation of failure of spigot in tension across the weakest section. So let us go further. Now failure of spigot in crushing. Here what is meant by crushing is very clear from that video. First look at that video. Now due to moment of that particular quarter, some shearing or some crushing action is observed. So look at that particular red part. So red part is the crushed part because of the moment of quarter. Slight movement of that quarter, when the load is acting on that particular spigot, crush down the spigot internal part. So again, if you just look at that video, so red color indicates failure area. The red color indicates failure area. So now come to the figure. In that figure, you will find that already we know the spigot has got D2 as the outer diameter and T as the thickness. So D2 into T is the area which is going to crush. As we say crushing, that means here crushing stress is observed. So that's why that particular force which is acting on that crushing area should get multiplied with crushing stress. So equation of load, here we can say P is equal to area is equal to D2 into T into sigma C, where sigma C is the crushing stress. Now here the failure is crushing, that's why sigma C, crushing stress. So we have to consider crushing stress. So this is the crushing area. Because of the slight movement of that quarter, inside portion of the spigot is crushed down, and that crushing is D2 into T, where D2 is the diameter, T is the thickness. So that particular portion is crushed down, and that crushing area multiplied by crushing stress gives us force. Or you can say that sigma C is equal to P divided by D2 into T in terms of force divided by area. Area of crushing is D2 into T. So this is the third failure that may observe in our cotter joint. Now let us take socket into action. Already we have considered failure of our part. So now next part is the socket. Now if the socket, which is somewhat a hollow cylinder and having a slot of quarter, if it is filled under tension, then what will happen? Look at first that video, identify the area, find the area, multiply with stresses so that we will get force. So that is the simple steps. So let us first see the video how the socket is going to fail in tension. Okay, so again one more times we will see that. Now look at the resisting area. As we know already, D2 and T, which are the dimensions of spigot, which is going to fit inside this socket. So D2 is the internal diameter and T is the thickness. One more quantity comes out here is D1. D1 is the outer diameter of the socket. So here, when we find the area, resisting area, which is shown in the hatching line by using pink type of color, you'll find that there is a complete area pi by 4 d1 square, subtract internal area pi by 4 d2 square, so that becomes a circular type of hollow circular type of section. But from that also we must subtract the portion of the quarter also. So that portion of the quarter is d1 minus d2 into t. So the resisting area becomes pi by 4 d1 square minus d2 square minus d1 minus d2 into t. So that is the resisting area. You can find easily geometrically the resisting area. The resisting area, when I multiply with tensile stress, that gives a load, or we can say that tensile stress is equal to P divided by resisting area. So resisting area for this failure of socket in tension can be found very easily. So this is the design of socket. From this we can find the dimensions D1, because already we can get the dimension D2 and T from the design of spigot. Here you can find the dimension D1. So dimension D1 is the outer diameter of the socket. Now let us go for one more type of failure which can be possible here. Now because of this force, because of this tensile force on that quarter, how the quarter is going to fail. So look at the video first. After that we'll think about the what kind of stresses are there and how we can find the dimension. So again look at that video clearly. Now quarter is going to fail. So because of tensile stress there is a failure. So there is a twice shear. So this much part can come out. So there is a twice shear. Okay. Look at one more times so that it will be very clear. Tensile force is given on that quarter joint. There is a failure of quarter in shear. So failure is there. So the quarter is get failed. Now come to the picture which is given. In that picture you will find that there is a B which is width of the quarter and T which is the thickness of quarter. Already in our spigot and last two equation of socket, we have taken T as a thickness, T as a thickness. So T is the thickness of quarter that we have already find. Here the width of the quarter can be find. Now if you just take the nature of the failure, the nature of failure is shear failure, because if you just see the that particular direction of force, you'll find that the resisting area is parallel to the force direction, so there is a shearing action. So because of the shear failure, because of that particular quarter is get cut. Okay, the failure of quarter is, in shear can be find here. As far as resisting area is concerned, the resisting area is shown by hatching in the figure. You will find that there is a rectangular area under the resisting area. So that area is B into T. As there are double shear. So double shear indicates 2 into B into T. So double shear multiplied by shear stress gives us load. Or we can say that tau shear stress equal to P divided by 2 into B into T. So that gives us the width of quarter B can be determined. So width of the quarter we can find if I know the failure of quarter in shear. So this is the failure of quarter in shear. The equation is very simple. Here there is a shear failure. We know the shear stress of that quarter material. So tau is equal to force divided by area. The area is here 2 into B into T. So we can find dimension B from this. So let us see one more type of failure. Now here again come to the socket. If that socket is subjected to crushing, we have taken spigot crushing in previous case. Now failure of socket collar or socket in crushing that we'll see. First you understand the failure from the video. We'll learn that video twice so that we'll understand the failure. Now it is a crushing failure. As you know, crushing means that part is going to crush other part. So quarter, because of movement of the quarter, some part of socket collar is get crushed. You can see that crushed area by some red color indication. Okay. One more times you can see. Because of movement of quarter, some portion of that socket collar is get crushed. Now come to the figure. In the figure, you find that the resisting area, which is directly come in front of us, which resists the force P. Now here D2 is the internal diameter of the socket. Socket is the hollow cylinder portion. T is the slot thickness, that also we know. Now D4 is the enlarged socket collar, whereas D1 is the normal outer diameter of the socket, but here socket collar is somewhat enlarged. That's why D4 new dimension comes. If you just look at that figure, you'll find that upper some part and lower part is only crushed down, because inside that there is a socket. Sorry, inside that there is a spigot. That's why only upper part of the area and lower part of the socket collar area is crushed down. Now try to get the area of this resisting crushing area. So we can find very easily D4 minus D2 into T will be the crushing area. So if I know that particular area D4 minus D2 into T, we know the area, we know the force, we know the stress. The stress is crushing stress here. So depend upon the failure. If the failure is crushing, we must take sigma C. So sigma C means here force is equal to D4 minus D2 into T multiplied by crushing stress. So crushing stress equal to force divided by area. Area is D4 minus D2 into T. So from this, the outer diameter of the socket collar D4 that we can find very easily. So this completes our one more dimension D4. Now again come to another kind of failure. So here let us again see how the socket is going to fail in shear. How the socket is going to fail in shear. So first look at that video. From that video you will find how the failure occurs. Now it is a shearing failure. So in previous case there is a tensile failure, there is a crushing failure. Now if it is a shear failure, then how the shearing action takes place and how the shear area can be decided, and the failure occur in the socket because of shearing action, that we can visualize. Let us look at that video first. Now in socket shearing, when the tensile force is applied on the socket, cutter will take out some part of the socket and it will shear out. That part, the portion of the part is simply two rectangles. Now look at the area. That area is D4 is the outer diameter of the socket, D2 is internal diameter of the socket, and C is the linear dimension. C is the dimension along the axis C which is going to cut out. But here again, if you look at carefully, you will find that there is a double shear. What is meant by double shear? The shearing area is twice. Just look at that video again, you will find that double shear is there. Double shear means that area cuts twice. So look at that double shear. There is an area which cut from front as well as from the back side also. So try to get the area. Area is simply single shear is D4 minus D2 into C. But there is a double shear. So D4 minus D2 into C into 2. So that is the shearing area. So if I know the shear area, again we'll go for the same procedure. Here the type of stress is shear. So area multiplied by shear stress equal to force, or in simple case shear stress tau is equal to force P divided by area, or shear stress tau is equal to force P divided by 2 into d4 minus d2 into C. So the C is the unknown here that we can find very easily when we say that there is a failure of socket in shearing. Okay, so this complete the one more type of failure which may act on the socket. Now the same shearing can happen on spigot also. Now look at that video. Some portion of that spigot can come out because of shearing action. The failure which is shear can be possible under the spigot also. So in the last step we have seen the shear failure of socket. Now spigot, which is the solid one, that also can be shear out. Look at that video again. Okay, now when we think about the area, just look at that area also. In that area, D2 is the outer diameter of the spigot that we know. A is the linear dimension along the axis which is going to cut. So resisting area is twice. Why? Because there is a twice shear. A shear from front end, shear from the back end. So two areas are there. So that's why resisting area is 2 into A into D2. So if the resisting area is 2A into D2 and there is a shear action, obviously we must say that there is a shear failure tau is equal to force divided by area. Now shear stress tau is equal to P divided by 2 into A into D2. So from this we can get the value of A, which is unknown here. So one by one, step by step, we are going to find different dimensions for this quarter joint. So from this you will understand that one more type of failure which can happen to spigot. So if you just think about all these different types of failure, you will find that every object, it may be spigot or it may be socket, it is subjected to three different types of failure. There is a tensile failure, there is a shear failure, and there is a crushing failure. So these three type of failure that we have seen on spigot and socket. Let us again go for next failure which is possible in this quarter joint. Now as we know, spigot is having some collar type of portion which is having some D3 diameter. If that particular spigot collar is crushed, that crushing action only because of some moment. If there is a moment, then crushing action is there. So that crushing action on the spigot collar, just again one more times you look at the video. The red portion indicates resisting area. Okay, now see the cross section. We know that the spigot collar means it has diameter D2, which is same as that of spigot, and D3 is one more diameter, which is the outer diameter of the collar portion. So the resisting area is the hollow circle. So the resisting area can be found very easily. Pi by 4 d3 square minus pi by 4 d2 square. So the resisting area is pi by 4 d3 square minus d2 square. As it is a crushing type of failure, so that means we must say crushing stress. So the resisting area multiplied by crushing stress equal to force or load, or sigma c is equal to P divided by area. So area is pi by 4 d3 square minus pi by 4 d2 square. So from this one more dimension we can find, which is the outer diameter of this spigot collar d3, that we can obtain. So this is the crushing failure on the spigot collar. Let us again come to the next. Now this spigot collar may get shear out. So it is very interesting to see the video. You look at that shearing action done on this spigot collar when the axial force is acting on this. Look at, it's a very interesting to see spigot collar which is shear out. Red color indicate resisting area. You see the one more times. There is a spigot collar which comes out directly. Okay, now it is a shearing failure. Shearing failure is always having area which is parallel to the applied load. So the shearing area, the collar comes out. If the collar comes out, that red area indicates cross section of that portion. So obviously D2 is internal diameter, D3 is outer diameter, and T1 is the thickness. Then the area internal area becomes pi D2, because pi D2 is the perimeter, internal perimeter, and T1 is the thickness. So pi D2 into T1 is the resisting area, and type of stress is shear stress. So pi D2 into T1 into tau equal to force is the equation, or we can say that tau stress equal to P force divided by area. Area is pi d2 into T1. In this we can find one more dimension, T1. So T1 also can obtain from this. So this is all about different parts which we can find very easily. So all dimensions we have covered here. So when we go for problem on this quarter joint, by using these equations, one by one, we are going to find the dimensions also. So in next tomorrow's class, we can find that. So this is the problem. This is the quarter joint problem, which is asked for 8 marks. So there may be chances that you may ask to write the procedure, design procedure, which we have taken here, or there may be chances that you have to find each and every dimensions just by using different resisting equation or different stress equation. So let us go further. So next step is the failure of quarter in bending. So this can be a separate question which is asked for 2 or 4 marks. Show that the failure of quarter in bending. So now this is very rare failure. Why it is very rare failure? Because the quarter cannot bend. The quarter is already inserted in a closed tolerance, so there is no gap. But still, if there is a because of some wearing action, or if because of the moment there is a bending, if such type of bending is there, then how we can write that? So if you look at that particular picture, in that picture you will find that there are uniformly distributed forces on the either side. So left side is the UDL, uniformly distribution loading, and right side also at the upper and lower portion there is a UDL. So the left side forces are because of the spigot and right side forces are because of the socket. Because socket is having hollow portion, so there is a connection, there is a touch of that quarter from top and bottom side, whereas that spigot is the solid one, so there is a direct contact which shown in the left side. So this is a very simple case of simply supported beam which is centrally loaded. So we have to find moment Mmax. That Mmax is given below in the equation. Now we know that bending stress is equal to M by Z. Z is the section modulus. So M by Z. So here, what is expected from you? So this much equation and this much kind of formulation is not expected. So here, at least you should able to write that the failure of bending is just like a simply supported beam in central loaded, and it has bending stress M by Z, and you can write the M by Z equation. Z is equal to TB square by 6. TB square by 6 comes out. Why? Because it is having rectangular cross section. Because of the rectangular cross section, TB square by 6 is the section modulus. So sigma B bending stress is equal to, you just remember that last final formula, P d4 plus 0.5 d2 divided by 2t b square. So direct final equation you can write. So this is the failure of quarter in bending. Very rarely ask this type of question in the G scheme or in the E scheme. In your scheme, such type of possibility of maybe for 2 marks or maybe for 4 marks, if it is asked, then only you should write this. Okay, so this is the failure of quarter in bending. Now, in addition to that, there are some dimensions which are left again. So we'll see that. Now, the length of quarter is in terms of diameter of the shaft, D. The taper is taper in the quarter. So quarter which is inserted inside that spigot and socket is having taper. Taper means it has an inclined portion. That inclined portion is having a taper of 1:24. That means after each 24 mm of the length of the quarter, there is a taper of 1 mm. So that is the meaning of 1:24. If the 1:48 taper is there, then the taper is having almost straight. If it is 1:8, then there is a large taper. So inclination is very large. So as we goes on increasing that taper value, but this is also asked in our exam. What is the standard taper value for the quarter in quarter joint? You must write 1:24. 1:24 is the best answer. You can write it can be 1:48 or it can be 1:8, but exact answer is 1:24. 1:24 or it can be 1:48. Okay, so there is a draw of quarter is generally 2 to 3 mm. So there should be a gap of 2 to 3 mm. You can look at that gap also. In the lower figure, you can find there is a gap between that B and C linear dimension. So there is a small gap is provided. So that is the clearance. You can see that clearance also. There is a 2 to 3 mm clearance given, so that quarter can insert very easily without any jam or without any jamming or without any locking of the quarter. It can be easily drawn inside, so that there is a gap is given of 2 to 3 mm. If there is a small particles of dust or there is a burr inside that particular hole, that also can accommodated if there is a gap of 2 to 3 mm. So that's why 2 to 3 mm gap is given, so that quarter can easily draw. Okay. Now the last and important thing is, sometimes it happens that you may or may not have time to find all the dimensions. You may have find half of the portion, and uh, you don't have further more time to find all dimensions, then you can have a empirical relationship, that are the standard relationship. So that means here, if I know the diameter d, then also I can get the all different safe values. So if you just look at that dimensions given, so there is a dimension given in terms of d. So figure is also given, and above the figure you'll find there is a d1 equal to 1.75 d, d2 is equal to 1.21 d, d3 equal to 1.5 d, d4 equal to 2.4 d, a and c is equal to 0.75 d, b equal to 1.3 d. Again, length is 4d, thickness is 0.31 d, thickness 1, that is thickness of quarter T1, 0.45 d, distance E is 1.2 d. So these are the empirical or standard relationship. So sometimes if you don't remember anything, or if you forget to write dimension, you can directly write standard dimension so that you can find some answers. If you write this particular empirical relation directly, you'll get only 2 to 3 marks. Why? Because the procedure is important. It is not expected that you should write answer directly. The procedure, the resisting area, the calculations are important, but sometimes because of some time limitation, you can write few dimension directly. So these are the standard dimension, and we are going to take this standard dimension whenever we require in our problem also. So this completes our quarter joint. At the end, I can show the summary of all these different calculations. So this is the summary. Here different 10 failures we have considered, and these are the equations. These are the equations of all these different designs. So here we have applied tensile, crushing and shear type of stresses on quarter, spigot and socket. So this completes our design of quarter joint. Now in the next lecture we'll see a numerical based on this quarter joint. Thank you.